Alegerile parlamentare și cele prezidențiale au pus toți ochii pe România. Șocul de pe scena politică a arătat încă o dată cât de importanți sunt partenerii pe care țara noastră îi are și pe care se poate baza. Într-un interviu exclusiv pentru Observator, realizat de colega mea, Sandra Stoicescu, ambasadorul Statelor Unite ale Americii la București, Kathleen Kavalek, vorbește despre legătura strânsă pe care România o are cu Statele Unite și cum va afecta relația bilaterală rezultatul voturilor.
În aceste vremuri atât de complicate pe care le traversează România după alegerile prezidențiale anulate, este foarte important să ne uităm către parteneriatul strategic cu Statele Unite ale Americii. Așa că interviul de astăzi este unul exclusiv și cu o valoare de simbol uriașă. Și îi mulțumesc foarte mult, doamnei ambasador, pentru că mi-a acceptat solicitarea de interviu și de a da un mesaj românilor. Mulțumesc foarte mult, vorbiți excepțional română și pentru asta vă admir foarte mult.
Mulțumesc!
Dar astăzi vom vorbi despre temele acestea grele în limba engleză. Sunt mesaje foarte importante și care au nevoie de foarte mult conținut, de foarte multă înțelepciune din partea celor care ascultă. But first of all, I have to congratulate you for receiving the Star of Romania. It is an honor. Honors a number of accomplishments of yours. Tell us about this honor, please.
Well, first of all, thank you so much for having me here today, and it's an honor to be with you. Yes, I was honored to receive the Star of Romania award, which I have to say was such an honor for me, but it reflects the work of my embassy, all the team at the U.S. Embassy. We have worked so hard in so many areas to try to deepen and strengthen the partnership that we have with Romania for the last 27 years as strategic partners. So for instance, the U.S. last year became the fourth largest foreign investor in Romania. Our trade and investment has grown to $7.1 billion, and it's growing. We have worked together to try to bring Romania into the visa waiver program, and we've made a lot of progress.
Indeed.
We've expanded our cultural and educational exchanges through the Fulbright program and other exchange programs. We now have American students, high school exchange students in Romania, not just Romanians going to the U.S. We have increased our support for Romanian security. We have American troops here present in Romania helping Romania with its defense and deterrence, indeed helping all of NATO. We've worked together on Black Sea security. We have helped Romania modernize its military with new systems and exercises and training. We've done all these things together because we have great partners, because we have a really dynamic embassy team, and it's I received the award, yes, this week, but it really is an award both for the work of all people on both sides who believe in the strength of this partnership between Romania and the United States that we're so privileged to support.
Your Excellency, you're so very much close to the Romanian spirit and the Romanian people, and this is one thing I have to say I'm very grateful for. You are not involved only in supervising and watching the Romanian politics, the Romanian economics and the relationship and the partnership, but also you love the Romanian people. And thank you for that.
Oh, yeah, I mean, it's not just me, it's my entire family.
I know.
We have long ties, and my kids studied here. My daughter went to Romanian school. My husband lived here as a child. So yes, I think it's fair to say we have a deep love for Romania.
So knowing that, and everyone now is wondering, how do you see this complicated moment for Romania? Your thoughts on the Romanian election?
Yeah, well, we, of course, along with everyone else, we were concerned by the information that came out, by the efforts of Russia to have a malign influence on the election and to affect the outcome. And of course, no one should interfere with Romanian elections. Romanian democracy should be protected. We have come out in support of all the efforts to get to the bottom of what happened, to investigate, to offer support. Many other countries as well have expressed support for Romania. So it's important that people are able to get to the bottom of this, that new elections be rescheduled as quickly as possible, that the Romanian people have the opportunity to make their voice heard without any foreign interference. You know, I know in a couple of days Romania will be celebrating and commemorating the revolution of 1989. And the people that sacrificed themselves in that revolution, they fought for democracy and freedom. And that is so important. There should not be, people should be able to elect their leaders in a process with integrity. People should not be subject to intimidation, to threats,
manipulation,
violence,
fake
manipulation,
news.
all those things. Look, a lot of democracies are struggling with these issues. It's not just Romania. The EU is looking at TikTok and how it's being used for Russian and Chinese to interfere. The United States is struggling with the same thing. All of us democracies have to work together to protect the integrity of our democracy. You know, thinking today about the revolution and how far Romania has come in the 35 years you've established a partnership with us, you joined the EU, you joined NATO, your economy has quadrupled, the level of income has gone up, is higher now than several other European countries. You've come so far, so this is something that needs to be protected. I was in Cluj yesterday and I visited the synagogue there, which is now a memorial to the Holocaust. And it just reminds you, sometimes we take our peace and security for granted, it's so precious to us. And we have to defend what we've achieved, all of us. We don't want to see, you know, hate speech. We don't want to see people threatened. You know, if you make enemies of a few, pretty soon everybody's an enemy. And we saw what happened in darker times. So just know that, you know, the United States is with Romania, will support you, as we do all of our friends and allies here in Europe.
Yes, who doesn't know his history is sentenced to repeat it.
Absolutely.
Unfortunately. And we have to be reminded constantly that we have to fight for freedom, freedom of speech, democracy. In an interview in February this year, you gave us a warning. You said Romania, it's a target for Russia in this year for the election.
Yeah.
Basically, what do you think about how the Romanian authorities reacted to all this? Because they managed to influence it. Russia managed to play, to transform Romania in a playground.
Right. Well, you know, it's very hard. The tools that are being used are new tools. They're new techniques. We knew, I mean, Romania knew it was going to happen in Moldova. We worked together to try to help the Republic of Moldova with their elections. We know that there are efforts in my country, and I don't think that anyone has found the perfect formula. And I think all of us tend to not be able to imagine how bad it can be, again, to this issue. So I think what's important now is to investigate it, to understand it, together with the EU, to look at what can be done to make the system stronger and to be able to withstand this type of effort at manipulation.
I will read some part of that interview in Romanian. Vedem cum Rusia folosește dezinformarea, influența malignă, tactici de intimidare în multe țări, inclusiv în țara mea, inclusiv în Statele Unite, așa că da, cred că România, orice țară care trece prin alegeri, e o țintă pentru ruși. Și ați vorbit și despre TikTok și întrebarea este, do you think that Romania should decide against TikTok, about the presence of TikTok?
Well, that's, of course, a decision for Romanian authorities to take and in consultation with the EU. I mean, that question's being looked at in the United States as well. So I have to admit, personally, I'm not on TikTok, so and I don't feel qualified to have an opinion. But I do think the authorities are right to look at that question, to consult with allies, and to see how do we handle something that can cause this much damage and spread this much disinformation. It's, you know, it's basically being used to undermine the trust and cohesiveness of our societies, and that's what's really important. I mean, this is the danger of these types of narratives and making enemies of the other. I mean, I think all of us, we have the holidays coming. What do we want? We want peace and security with our families and our friends. And to do that, we have to defend our democracy. And if there is a threat, we have to try to understand and address that threat.
Very profound and very, very true. Your country also had an election.
Yes.
Will the result change the nature or anything in our bilateral relationship?
I don't expect so. I think, you know, the strategic partnership is 27 years strong. In that time, we've had 5 different presidents in the United States. We're about to inaugurate another one. You in Romania, you've had also 5 different presidential terms, and the relationship has only gotten stronger. In our Congress, there's a lot of bipartisan support for Romania. There was a statement issued the other day on a bipartisan basis about this election issue by members of both the Republican and Democratic Party. The U.S. Congress adopted legislation about Black Sea security. So I think I don't expect to see major changes. Of course, every administration has its nuances, but I think the relationship will continue as it has been and get stronger, maybe even with more investment and growth in other areas.
Will anything change in the visa waiver program in which we are very, very close, Romania?
Yes, absolutely. We're very close. I mean, this is a technical process. It doesn't depend on politics. You qualify or you don't qualify. So we've been working closely to bring Romania into the program, and I hope to have good news early in next year. And I don't expect politics to influence that.
What was your first reaction, going back a little bit to the Romanian election, what was your first reaction when you saw what happened?
Surprise, of course, confusion, in an effort to understand what happened exactly.
And going back to that warning you've issued in February, everyone had information, or it was something, even the common sense would say that Putin will try to play?
Yeah, I mean,
in this.
I think it's common sense. You may know that in one of my previous positions, I was responsible for policy with Russia.
Exactly.
And I spoke to many countries about this issue. You know, going back to 2014 in Ukraine, Russia broke into their electoral system and tried to change the vote counts. I remember in 2016 when in Montenegro they were having elections, and Russia tried to foment a coup on the right during the elections. We know here in Romania what's happened in the Republic of Moldova with influence of money. You know, money is being used also. No, I think it's to be expected. What I think is always surprising is the new ways in which disruptive technologies are being used, and the way the Russians take advantage of the openness of our systems to try to create chaos and confusion.
Going back to the letter you've mentioned also, 4 senators gave a letter regarding the election in Romania. They said that we condemn Putin's manipulation of Chinese Communist Party-controlled TikTok to undermine Romania's democratic process. The world must wake up to the serious threat to democracy posed by Russian manipulation of TikTok to undermine our free societies. Maybe US is discussing that, as you already mentioned. EU is also asking questions from the TikTok after what happened in Romania. But perhaps as a partnership, we also should do something together with the United States.
Absolutely, and NATO is one vehicle for this. There have been already at NATO, they have discussed this issue of what's referred to as hybrid. It's not a direct assault with military weapons, but it's using other methods. So both NATO and the EU are great places, and these discussions are happening already. Of course, the United States is not part of the EU, but we are part of NATO, and we are looking for ways to be helpful. Investigations involve cooperation in law enforcement, for instance. There are best practices. We have also looked at this problem in our country, so we all need to be talking to each other and figuring out what do we do to protect our systems. I think the good news is most of us have figured out how to protect the actual counting and the process of the votes, but there are other ways to try to manipulate before and during the election that we have to be watchful
And now, if you have an advice also for next year, because next year will be again a year of election for Romania.
Yeah.
What should we pay attention, especially
I mean, I think we all know now what we should be paying attention to, and I hope we're not surprised again. But I think the focus now should be on being as transparent as possible, doing all the things to make sure that everybody feels confident in the integrity of the electoral process.
Be vigilant, be paying attention to anything that's happening.
Absolutely.
Okay. Going back to the bilateral relations, about security, about economy, you've mentioned all this. How do you see next year in our relations?
Yeah, I mean, I think, well, first of all, as I said, we're hopeful that we'll have some good news early in the year. I have traveled a great deal in Romania. I know that our companies are prospering here. They have invested and created more jobs. The other thing maybe your viewers might not know is that Romanian companies are also investing in the United States and creating jobs in the United States. So investment is going both ways. So my hope is to see more trade and investment, that we continue to grow in importance on that basis, that we continue to expand our cultural and educational exchanges, and that together we support efforts to help Ukraine find peace with strength, peace through strength, that we can, as an alliance, come together to shore up not only our democracies, but to support our friends and allies who are subject to even tougher challenges than we are. And by the way, I want to express the appreciation of the United States for all the Romanians who have helped Ukrainians in their time of need. I mean, Romanians rushed to the border when the war started. They took chai and cozonac. They took people into their homes. In a time of need, the Romanian people showed that they could be counted on, and they showed their humanity and empathy, and I think that's a beautiful thing.
Any thoughts for the next government and the next parliament? In the parliament, things are a little bit difficult.
Yeah,
there's 30%
I think,
of
democracy is messy, and it takes time to work things out. We're going through a transition, so I'm sympathetic. I expect that we'll all get through it on both sides of the Atlantic and come out. We'll work it out eventually. And we'll continue our great partnership.
Și acum o să vă rog să adresați câteva cuvinte. Vin sărbătorile, vine Crăciunul, săptămâna viitoare, sfârșitul anului, câteva gânduri pentru cei care ne urmăresc în limba română.
Cu mare plăcere. Știți că am fost ieri în Cluj și m-am bucurat de un grup de colindatori și asta mi-a adus aminte când fata mea era mică aici în România, a învățat niște colinde și a cântat colinde când era mică și există o colinde care este asta s-a născut Hristos și i-a cântat asta foarte frumos și această colinde spune laudați și cântați și vă bucurați. Și pentru tuturor sper că o să aveți un Crăciun plin de fericire, prosperitate, pace, că continuăm împreună, asta este foarte important ca aliați. Vă doresc tuturor sărbători fericite alături de cei drag, că asta este cel mai important, ca să fim cu familia.
Mulțumesc mult, mult, mult de tot, să aveți sărbători frumoase. Eu vreau să vă dăruiesc studiul făcut de Antena, împreună cu compania Ipsos, studiul necesităților românilor, pe care l-am dat și tuturor candidaților la prezidențiale care au venit aici și tuturor politicienilor. Este un demers unic făcut de Antena. Nu sunteți, vi-l dau pentru că știu cât iubiți românii. Mulțumesc foarte mult, sărbători fericite!
Mulțumesc!
Mulțumesc foarte mult!